This is Earth. At least what remains of the planet. Something happened during extinction that caused a giant crater. And, well, it's full of something now, whatever that is. Toxic water, or maybe it's some kind of chemical compound we have yet to find out about. But it doesn't matter. Something happened. To me, this does not look like a meteor impact. This looks way more serious. It's not a nuke, because nukes don't have that kind of power. Okay? I know you might think nukes are pretty strong. Yeah, whatever this is. No, this thing is something of a completely different realm of power as far as I'm concerned. I don't think a meteor hit the planet just because of the way the damage is as well. It looks more like an explosion happened that wiped out a giant portion of the planet. Now, whatever you think this might be, let me know in the comment section below, but I am going to get into a major theory that was sent to me on Twitter about the final boss, why it may not actually be Helena, or however you say their name, because so many people corrected me. And, well, hopefully you guys agree with this theory. I give all credit to Shanri. I think I'll put your name on the screen. So as you know, we go through a portal in Aberration, and this is what takes us home. This is how we get to quote-unquote home. Granted, home could be in a much better state. It still takes us home. Now, one thing I do want to point out about this whole thing is the colors of the rings and the technology that we use. We're using portal technology that was used by the explorers before us. Helena and the other people, I think May and a couple other people, use this basically to get to Earth before us at some point in time. All the colors match up except for one, the last ring. It's orange. I'm not sure why, unless it's just some kind of power supply hint or something like that. Maybe I'm assuming it's some kind of power supply hint, or maybe the boss. I don't know. I don't know why that extra color is there, unless it's because it's transmitting to a brand new type of obelisk or something like that. Maybe that's just something completely crazy. I don't know. But we go through hell to get to this portal. So, as far as Helena goes, which, by the way, Helena is confirmed to be the person on the raptor in the box art, as you just saw. That is supposed to be Helena. That was confirmed on the wiki. I believe Wildcard actually confirmed that. Now, back on track. As far as Helena, I had my own theory, but there is one theory that stands out among all the others that I had mentioned earlier that points to May being the final boss of Extinction. The reasoning behind that, there's a lot of dossier information that I have to go over with you guys right now. So buckle in, because it's going to be a bit of a long one. There's also a chance Helena could be the final boss of Extinction. But in my opinion, this chance has been lowered drastically. Now, in our encounter with Rockwell, which we had learned a ton about this guy and what he's gone through. Unfortunately, he made the wrong decision. Injecting yourself with molten element is not how you obtain power. By the way, it's that stuff he's standing in. That's molten element. In case you missed the last video, I guess. But he injected himself. We had to defeat him in order to get back home. One thing I do want to point out is above him, there is some weird matrix or something that seems to be casting him down. Or maybe he's blocking it from transmitting you. Maybe this was the original portal room, and that's what happened. He just decided to block it all off and say, no, you can't go home. You've basically got to stop his heart to defeat this guy. Not an easy task. I want to make a note that while I feel this is probably the best theory, the person that gave this to me does not speak in fluent English. So there's going to be some mistakes. I had it translated down a little bit more so people could read it a little bit easier and stuff, but there's going to be mistakes and stuff, so there's not much more I can do about it. However, a lot of this is about May. Now, this is a person who, in her notes, spoke of her past, about her family. Her father wanted a son, and her mother wouldn't accept her to go to war. Even about the general from the yellow turban, which is mentioned in her notes. She still feels treated bad since most men see women as weaker. But May has shown she isn't going down easy. May began to speak about her feelings, like her anger, and one time she felt she had horns and fangs. It's not like she turned into a demon, no. It's more of a saying. What is it people see that I cannot see? Which made her even scared of herself. She didn't know herself anymore. It leads to that, and then other people also see her as savage. Even people begin to call her the Queen of Beasts. Now, I want to make a note that she is called the Queen of Beasts because ultimately May can tame things incredibly easy. She knows how to communicate with animals, I guess. She can tame the local animals easier than anyone else. And this is referenced in the fact, well, later on you're going to find out. You'll find out. May pretty much began to think about how she would survive and even plan out without thinking back to the past. Yet the past haunts her since she arrived on the island. This is back in the very first release of ARK, the island. May even has a demon king. She keeps the other animals further away from her own pack though, just to be sure. The demon king could have been a Rex as well. They're not really sure. For me, Demon King, red glowing eyes, Giga. I feel like she tamed a Giga and not a Rex. But if you guys know, let me know in the comment section down below. Now I'm going to skip through a lot of this and get to some key points. One, May was called the Beast Queen because, well, she could tame basically anything, even a Giga. And in my mind, I feel like it should be reinforced that it could have been a Giga because of the simple fact that she was the Beast Queen. The Queen of Beasts. So she's learned how to tame creatures just like we do. We tame creatures as well in the game. Now, what would the irony in having a boss that has tamed the strongest creatures and can tame any creature, maybe even tame our tames and take them to work against us? That would be a really interesting boss mechanic to have in a fight. In my mind, I think that is something very viable. May also goes more in depth with feeling as an outcast and relating more with the animals than anything else. Now, at the end of Aberration, leading into Extinction, we could see that it seems like the planet was taken over at the end by nature. Now, it's pretty clear to me that May is one with nature, seeing as she has such a strong connection with animals. More of one than humans. She does not connect with humans that well. She's faced a lot of betrayal. She's been cast out by her family, and everything for me points towards her feeling like she'd be happier living with said animals and being their ruler, more or less. Now, I'm not sure what happens to the quote-unquote demon that she has if she brings it with her the entire way. I mean, I think a Giga on Aberration would be pretty useful as far as I'm concerned. Don't know if it could take on a Reaper Queen or not, but I think it could do some pretty serious damage. Now, the story ended with May in the island. I don't think she made an appearance on Scorched Earth, or at least there are no notes that I can find that have her in them. However, in the last part of the island with May, she went to fight Nerva because for some reason or another, they kidnapped Helena. And, well, that was a thing apparently. Now, for whatever reason too, Helena begged May not to kill Nerva because she had the upper hand in combat and was learning combat skills. So she's becoming dangerous as far as combat goes. So one, she can tame creatures and have them effectively do her bidding. Number two, she is also now an adept person when it comes to combat, a warrior, which her parents had never wanted her to be and never believed she could be. Either way, May did strike a death blow, and it was a very critical wound. Now, whatever happened there is a gap in the timeline, and I'm not sure what this gap is exactly or why it happens this way, but the last piece of information they have, I soon regretted freeing Helena from her cage before following the Legion through the portal they opened. She was too focused on the wonders around us. When she saw that most of the Legion was dead, she even tried to dissuade me from killing their leader. I knocked her unconscious. I wish no harm to her, but I cannot let her interfere. At least she told me his name, Nerva. This is the man I was here to kill. On the most fitting stage, I admit it is beautiful. The stars shine so clearly I can think of no better place for my vengeance. Here at the edge of heaven, let our final battle be decided. And then it just kind of breaks off and it goes right into Aberration. And whatever happened to her, if you guys can fill in the blank here, because Wildcard either deliberately left something here or left a space and time here, or it's something else happening. I'm not sure. The timeline is very fuzzy for me on this. But then they appear in Aberration. Something happened in between all of that. Now, I don't know if it's missing in the webpage or what, but either way, it starts out in Aberration, and it states, "Where have I been taken? When I tried to pull my sword from that machine, there was a bright flash, and suddenly I was in this desolate place. Whatever that device was, I must have broken it. Nervous corpse traveled with me, blood still seeping from the wound I left in his chest. Despite what he's done, part of me thinks that I should bury him. He was a tyrant, but he still died a warrior's death. For now, I will bandage the wound on my face and rest here the night, and it will be safer to explore in the light of day." And it kind of perplexes me because it's taken her to Aberration. She skipped Scorched Earth, from what I understand in this, because there's nothing there. But either way, it continues on from there that May still continues to gather information and learn the area. She grows stronger. She's able to tame bigger and better beasts, yada, yada, yada. Now, along her travels, she met up with Diana, I believe, something like that. Apparently, they could have been lovers, and they also had technology. Diana knew technology and was incredibly smart with this stuff. So, I mean, one would come to the conclusion that May would be taught how to use incredibly advanced technology and learn the ways of the tech tier, basically. Now, we're going to jump past a lot of, I guess, boring information into the meat and potatoes of this. There was a necklace that was being constructed, and basically in the Helena notes, it said, "The structure of this space station must be vastly different from the others to allow for these massive caverns. Is that uncommon? Or do many of the stations vary so radically from one to another? I've only seen 3. For all I know, they could have come in all shapes and sizes." Speaking of different, May has been fairly talkative since they left. So everyone basically met up. They're all happy, yada, yada, you know, they're all happy-go-lucky. She's still grown quiet sometimes, but instead of trying to burn me to death with invisible laser eyes, she stares into the distance and fiddles with her necklace. I think she depicts a plane or spaceship or some kind. I wonder where she got it. Now, the last note that we have on Helena's side for Aberration is that May actually broke down and said that she had lost everything. She mentally broke down, and it wasn't just her past life. It was the fact that she was going to lose what little she had left, or had that risk of losing everything that she had left. But at the same time, I mean, she's been an outcast for basically everything and everyone, being called the Beast Queen to a savage, and all of this terrible stuff has happened in this short amount of time. But she's also learned a ton about technology and combat and taming. Now, this necklace that they'd been working on, or they had found, or whatever, is something that Diana had given to May. And in Diana's last note, she does wonder if May will like it or not, and it is a key, according to Helena, some kind of space key, which, well, that's what happens after the next DLC for Aberration Leave and all that stuff. What the theory ultimately points to is that Helena will not fall, and she will try to warn the player by using her notes and even more dossiers of creatures, because May had enough using the new information and skills she had to become the real Beast Queen and conquer the new lands. Now, one thing that could be a game changer as well is a way for them to revive someone else. Not just cloning them, but bringing them back. I guess technically you could clone and put the memories back in, like implant them, which leads into another theory, my own personal theory about Helena, which is a little bit weird. But ultimately, it also comes down to the question if Wildcard really did add these 3 different people in different time periods. I'm talking about Rockwell, Nerva, and May. They're from 3 different time periods. Could it be possible they were revived by DNA, or was it something else? That's a new idea for cloned humans, basically. So my closing thoughts on this theory are, I think it's plausible because ultimately I feel like she would want to somewhat be seen as strong to her parents and the heritage, but she's from a completely different time frame too. So I don't know how much that would play in. My other idea was with Helena to reinforce that. You guys know I strongly believed Helena was the final boss. I still believe that is the case. It could possibly still happen, regardless of how in-depth May's storyline has gotten. But at the same time, May is the Beast Queen, and it would make sense if a game about taming creatures and beating giant bosses with things you've tamed. Makes sense if the final boss was a tamer, someone that's mastered it, someone that is infinitely better than what we could ever hope to be. We can beat them. Don't catch up to me. Don't you do it. That's what I thought. But my idea is that Helena, she questions her existence a lot in the note. She questioned what her memories were, if her memories were her own, this and that, and she descends into madness for a little bit, it seems, in the notes. My idea and thought was that possibly maybe she just decided after getting to Aberration, something horrible happens and she sees the rest of the people die, whatever, and she just decides, screw it, I don't need to be alive anymore, and tries to do something stupid, and it ends up just mutating her just like Rockwell. Now, I don't know how plausible that is, or maybe she just decides, hey, screw it, I'm just going to become a super overlord of whatever she wants to do, basically. I don't know, maybe it's just not a plausible theory at all. I don't know. If you guys have any theories or thoughts, let me know in the comment section of this video. As always, leave a like if you do enjoy ARK Aberration, and if you want to see some more of that Extinction map, let me know too. I could probably sort something out with that and see if I could just throw some footage of that in there. Also, check out the new ARK Rex and the new ARK Wolf, because they look freaking cool. I was supposed to add it in like way earlier in the video, and I completely forgot about it, so you're looking at it right now, and they look freaking amazing. You probably already know what it looks like. You've already seen it on Twitter or something, because I tweeted it out, and a bunch of other people did. They look cool. I'm not big on the ARK Rex, actually, believe it or not. I'm not 100% on that Rex, but I mean, it still is an upgrade compared to what we currently have. I feel like it needs a little bit more fine work. I feel like it needs to be bigger. Does that make sense? I don't know. To me, it makes sense. But you guys let me know your thoughts on that as well. That is it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Oh, man. I've probably messed up so many times along so many storylines. And it's like, it's hard to keep all of the stories in line and make one big picture, because you have to combine, like, a story from multiple different people. It's not told in one big book. It's multiple characters going through their lives and telling you what you experience, and then you have to piece that together, and usually they go in line with the numbers, you know, like log number 29 from all of them like coincides in the same spot, but some of them have different things. I know, it's a little bit weird. And I still don't have an answer to the actual giant explosion that happened on Earth. There is a chance altogether that might just be in the texture and they quickly threw a texture on it and that's all they had. I mean, there's always the chance for that, but I don't see them purposely detailing that much just to have it not mean anything, you know? That's the way that I see that anyways. I don't know. You guys let me know what you think caused that explosion too, but that's it. I will see you in the next video.
Are hazy. It hasn't helped these hours of pacing.